Right, so let's just make sure this is.
Looks good to me, man.
That's that. And let me just check that. Right, just bear with me. Because it's done that thing again where you get a Windows update.
Is it your audio?
Yeah. So there we go.
No.
Right, so everyone should be able to hear now.
Do you know what that means? We've both had audio issues right before the pod, so
Yeah, it,
we're,
it
we're
it does it every time. Every time I have a Windows update, it resets all my audio settings for my headset through Streamlabs. And
every
so,
time, dude.
and I did it. Oh, who was it with? Was it with Addy? I did one of these with Addy, and nobody could hear us for the first 5 minutes until chat started going. And I'm like, oh, right. So, good evening, everyone, and good evening, well, everyone in chat. Welcome to another episode of Crash's Community Podcast. I am joined by the one and only Pigeon, this good-looking gentleman next to me.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm not going to lie, right? Because I've got your stream open straight away there. You're pointing the wrong way. I was like, nah, he's going to be pointing the wrong way in the stream. And then I
Right,
looked at you and I was like,
that
oh
way,
no, I nailed it. He nailed it.
that
You
way,
nailed it.
yeah,
Because you're the one that can see. How's it
yeah,
going, man? Good to be here.
yeah. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Long day at work, a bit tired, but still smiling. Just.
Exactly.
So, for anyone who is new to my channel or new to the podcast, uh, I'll introduce myself. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, I'm F1 Gatecrasher. I'm a Destiny main streamer, but I also do this little podcast where I get very, very, very nice, influential, hard-working members of the Destiny community to come and join me and have a chat as well. I ask questions and they usually give some really good answers. Uh, how this goes is there's 4 topics that we go through, a quick fire round put in there as well. What I will say from the off, and I know my bot does keep saying it, but it's just so if anyone does come in with a host raid or anything like this, and I don't shout out straight away, I do it in between the topics so that it doesn't break up the flow of the conversation. So if I don't recognise it as soon as it comes in, I will do it. Please don't think I'm ignoring you. I would not do that to anybody. So let's kick this off. So the first subject or topic is getting to know yourself better. So for anyone that doesn't know, whereabouts are you from?
So I hail from Glasgow, Scotland.
Uh,
Like the right now, I'm actually back at my parents' crib. I've had to move due to circumstances and the place I was living in. So I'm kind of between homes just now, technically, and looking for a new place to live. But I'd always say Glasgow. Glasgow's where I spend most of my time
yeah,
outside the pandemics. That is.
yeah. The pandemic, yes, yeah. Fingers crossed. We may be turning the corner and be able to go back and socialise or see friends or family or anyone else that we haven't obviously seen for a while. Uh, so, what was life like growing up? What was little Pigeon like at school,
Oh,
doing things with friends? What was life like growing up?
I always kind of say, I always kind of fancy myself as like an underdog at school. Like not in with the cool kids, but like always like um trying to like be the best I could be, and Um, try and be like cool and stuff. But I was cool in my own little way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Growing up, I fell in with a group of friends, and we all kind of listened to like alternate music, like rock, metal, and stuff at the time. And we're all quite big in our. We were basically big in our music at the time. That was my high school years. I will probably. I'm in before people in chat start saying I'm an absolute boomer and like 50 plus years old and all that. It's like an ongoing joke. I'm 32 now, by the way, just for the record. Uh, I don't know, man. Like, I went to university. I did a science degree. Wasn't for me. And then after that, I spent a good like 7 or 8 years just working a job and being super sociable and whatnot.
Yeah.
As far as like video games and stuff, am I diving into the video game side of things?
You can now. It'll come later on.
I feel like it might come in later on, but like overlying with video games, like I picked them up from an early age. Like there's a photo of me when I was 4 years old, and I'm sitting playing a Mega Drive, and I'm pretty sure it's Sonic the Hedgehog that's on the TV screen, tiny wee TV screen, probably the size of the cam windows on
Yeah.
the TV on the monitor now. So that was like one of the first games I played. I think it was my dad. I've got my dad to thank for that. He picked up the games consoles. He was always kind of techie and was learning how to use PCs at the time. That was kind of like his career, and he always got the games consoles in. So I kind of took a flare at it straight away, and I guess that kind of set my way. Got consoles for Christmas off Santa. I remember getting a PlayStation eventually. I think that was the big game changer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Get a PlayStation for Christmas, and as far as games, I was playing what like my relatives and my friends were playing like I can't remember now. Got all your classics. I had an N64 as well. We played like GoldenEye and stuff, all the first
Yeah.
person shooters. I played a game called Lilac Wars over and over again. It was like a scrolling shooter. You were a spaceship. If people know the Star Fox series, they'll know
Yeah.
it. Eventually, when the PlayStation came out, I used to go to my grand's house, and all the cousins and family would go there on a Friday night. But we would all crowd around the television in the living room. Now this was the clincher. Our gran would let us put the games console on the big TV because most people would have like a big TV in their
Yeah.
living rooms, and they'd have a wee crap TV in the bedroom. So we got to play that. You know what I mean, though, don't
Yeah.
you?
I know exactly
It was
what
a
you mean. Yeah.
total thing. So we used to. She would let us play the consoles in the living room, basically. So all the cousins would sit and gather around watching the video games. And one of the main games that kind of stuck out at the time for me was the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
We had a bigger cousin who brought the games in, and we'd sit and watch him play Final Fantasy for hours. Eventually, I'd be like, "Can I get that game?" Like going to the local shopping centre and tugging on my parents, like, "Can I get this?" And I ended up getting Final Fantasy VIII at the time, and then that just spiraled my RPG obsession, um, which kind of went on for as long as I know. Later on, I got like a PlayStation 2, 3, all the way up to PlayStation 4, and I'd picked up the Call of Duty games at the time. I had a friend who was an avid, like, he just loves his war stuff and
Yeah.
shooting guns and that. So Call of Duty came into the mix as well, and that was like one of the first online multiplayer first person shooters I played at the time. But all the while, I was still playing Final Fantasy games, different RPGs, fighting games, and whatnot. And yeah, I was in. Well, I guess I can continue put that as a to be continued because I know one of your topics is talking about Destiny. So that's the story so far,
Okay.
and
So
I'll
we
leave
can
it at
see.
that. But yeah,
So,
that's kind of things. Just now, I'm actually studying a degree for sound design. I'm in
all
my
right.
third
Yeah.
year. In my third year for that. Solid, by the way, especially learning from home.
Hmm. Is something you're looking to progress with that?
It is, yeah. It's something I'm looking to do freelance, hopefully. So once I'm qualified, I'm looking to just become my own sort of unit for doing sound design or any kind of sound related stuff for projects. Um, That's it. I did think about the video games industry, but not straight away. I want to get one deal going, one gig going. I'm quite
Yeah.
self orientated that way. So
Ah, good. So you just briefly touched that. Obviously, you're back living with your parents. Uh,
yeah.
Tell me about your family.
Well, I've got my mum and dad, and I've got a younger sister. We're quite tight knit, to be honest. I mean, moving back home's been kind of eye opening, to be honest.
Yeah,
I can see how I kind of lead my life is very different to how my parents kind of see it sometimes. So, like for example, I'm not a morning person. So, my parents are up at the crack of dawn, and I if I've not got anything on straight away during the day, like kind of classes or that, I'm usually the one to have a lie in, and then it's like right, get out of bed, and I'm like, oh, damn it. So bar that, nah, great, solid. My dad's into video games as well. He plays the likes of Destiny. He recently got a PC as well, so he's quite avid about it. We
yeah,
get to talk about it quite a lot. My mum, she's not into video games at all. She doesn't really follow it at that, but she encourages the streaming and stuff. So, or she understands it at least,
yeah,
which is more than enough for me. So,
yeah. Well, it's a bit like me and my son. Well, my son's 14, and we just play Warzone all the time.
mhm.
And
I've started to
he
try Warzone.
he's proper cracked at it, and I wouldn't even say mediocre. I'm getting better as we play it. But he's there screaming at me and screaming at me. Somebody up there on the hangar roof. There, Dad, behind you. Oh, why did you? I'm like, oh. But
Cracked,
it's
obviously.
we talk about it outside of playing it as well. So it's a good little bond that we've got going. So I
Yeah.
understand what you mean with your own dad. So just say you're not streaming, not playing Destiny. You just got a night in by yourself, feet up on the sofa, TV to yourself, and you can put your favourite film on or your favourite TV series. What would they be?
So I'm quite bad with watching TV shows because my attention span is terrible. I will put something on with the good intention of I'm going to watch this, but my attention span will slink away. But I'll tell you what I watched recently. I was actually rewatching the Yu-Gi-Oh TV series, like the American dub, on Netflix. Just super fan, dead geeky. I'd been playing the game at the same time, the sort of Duel Monsters card game on
Yeah,
my PC. So that kind of fueled that for a bit. I was watching that. As far as movies, I don't even know, man. There's nothing tickled my fancy recently to like fire up a movie. I got a notion to watch Lord of the Rings recently, and I've had people tell me watch this Snyder's cut of Justice League as well, because I didn't even watch the original. So that's on my maybe to watch, like come the weekend.
yeah. I watched the first half hour of that and then I got called away, so I haven't got back to
Oh
watch the
no,
rest of it yet.
so you started
I've
watching?
heard it's meant to
No,
be a lot better than the original, and I haven't seen the original. So if I haven't seen the original, I don't know how bad it was.
yeah, it's kind of you've got like a one view of it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And seeing that, that kind of makes me think now. To be honest, like I watched a lot of the superhero movies. I loved all the Marvel stuff that they did with that whole um like Infinity Stone
yeah,
saga. So that's always a good watch.
yeah, definitely. That's my favourite. Is the Marvel thing and how everything interlinked into the final. It was very clever how they did it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned music earlier. So I was going to ask what type of music do you like, but as well as what type or which bands do you like?
Most it's honestly it's a total mixed bag. Recently, one of my favorite bands, a band called Era, released a record on Friday there, and I've actually been jamming that out like constantly. When I'm streaming, I actually like to listen to a lot of upbeat dance music, euphoric stuff. And then sometimes I'll be like, right, nah, tell this, we're just going to put on some like emo pop punk stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole spectrum of bands there. I'll kind of name a few if people know who they are. Got bands like As It Is, State Champs, Neck Deep. I've been listening to a lot of Porter Robinson. I love his stuff. Love his side project as well. Um, what's it called again? I've got it open here as well. So I'm looking at the face. Virtual Self. He's got a side project. It's called Virtual Self, and
Yeah.
it pure tickles my genre, which is like borderline cheesy euphoria stuff, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah.
And then right now, this is like the full spectrum, but I'm listening to like some lo-fi stuff now. I love lo-fi at night time, or if I'm sitting talking, or like tonight I was gaming for a bit. The lo-fi's on in the background. I mean, there's too many artists to actually know. There was one called Sleepy Fish who kind of stood out to me. He's in a lot of like sort of inspirational videos that I'd watched recently, and that was the artist that they had playing in the background.
Yeah.
So
A nice broad spectrum.
yeah, man.
Well, it's always healthy to, well, say healthy. It's always good to have a taste in all different types of stuff.
Yeah. I actually learned to play guitar over the years, so I've got my guitars sitting here, which I sometimes take out to jam as well.
Yeah.
So you ask if I was putting my feet up for the night and watching a movie, I'd probably actually be sitting trying to learn the next song from one of my favorite bands as
Oh,
well.
nice. No, I can't say I'm have the patience. That would be the right word to put. The patience to try and learn. Well,
Yeah,
one how to play guitar, but
it's a
two
grind, man.
but two obviously learning new songs.
What happens is you start. I always remember this, but you start learning, and then all of a sudden, 6 or 7 years have passed. You're like, oh, right now I get it. It just clicks. It's one of the ones. It just clicks one day.
So, say obviously COVID lockdown has gone. Away from gaming, what do you like to do?
I'm still quite well. I don't know anymore. It feels like forever. Like one of the last things I did was hit a few gigs. So for all the music I listen to, I'm a total gig fiend. Um, there's never been a time where I've not had like a whole wad of gig tickets and a gig to look forward to. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. The whole year will pass, and I'll still have a gig ticket for an upcoming gig through to the next year and stuff. And the festivals as well. Like I try to hit those as much as I can.
Yeah,
So they kind of got scooped away. I do enjoy a lot of the nightlife as well in about Glasgow. So kind of mixes with hitting a gig and then staying out late with folk and maybe going to the dancing or whatnot, or just hitting a few bars and talking rubbish all night.
that
I'm happy with
I
either.
exactly the same as me. Going
Yeah,
out socializing, music, and
yeah,
I miss it now, and I can't wait to get back to it. I really can't.
same dude.
So if Gordon Ramsay just walked through that door behind you and he had a silver platter like this, and it goes like that, and it's your favorite food, what would it be?
Dude, that comes and goes all the time, man. I'm actually a pure fuss eater as well. I'm so fussy. I'll tell you what, right? Because I've not had it in so freaking long because places are closed, I would say sushi as a one
Sushi.
off or like Japanese food in general.
Yeah.
I would devour like a platter of sushi right now because it's been more than a year. But outside that, pure fussy. Try to start watching my figure again, you know. So
Same.
I could I could exist. I think we all are, man. It's all right. I could easily just like bowls of chicken and rice as well, just keeping it simple. And saying that, since I moved back home, my mum cooks a lot, so I've had the old mammy's meals again, which has been a rare treat, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't beat a bit of home cooked mum food.
Yeah, so good.
Right, so that's the end of the first category. So I'm sure I did see alerts pop up. So expire, Is that Ouija? Is it Ouija? Have I said that correctly? I
Sweetie.
don't know. Wiggy. And thank you both for the follows. And Miss Kit, thank you very much for the host. And let me just do. Because my fat fingers don't work properly on this keyboard. And we'll do that. There we go. Right, so moving on to the next topic. It's about gaming. So obviously you've touched on this a little bit earlier. And the first one was, what was the first game that you'd ever played?
So it was Sonic the Hedgehog for the Mega Drive. The original Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah. I think I've got a copy of it upstairs. Actually, I found my Mega Drive in the loft about 3 weeks
I,
ago,
Gold dusted.
and
So good.
there's no lead to hook it up to the TV, so I'd forgot I was going to go on eBay and buy one so I can hook it up to the TV and show the kids what we used to play. None of this. Well, he's got a PlayStation 5 and she's got a PlayStation 4 as my daughter, and none of this
Mhm.
high def 1080 stuff. It was
Yeah.
proper pixelated.
I'll tell you, I've tried streaming some retro games, but it ends up, to me, it's just nostalgia covered. So I'm like, oh, I
Yeah,
could play that again. I think I played Donkey Kong 64 on stream once, and I was like, this is great, but it's just not a cutting edge game anymore.
no,
It's great, it's fun, but it's not like, it doesn't feel the same. So
yeah,
um probably would play them offline, to be honest. Like, I've still got more consoles as well, man. I've got a Sega Saturn, although they're in storage just now. Got a Sega Saturn, N64,
oh yeah,
more PlayStation 2 and 3 as well. PS1's not really be seen, though, it's long gone.
yeah.
I've got a fair lot of the games from as well, man. Got a box of games for them. So, but through the years, like, um, I'd play the consoles. I actually remember getting home from like school and I'd just go straight up to my room to fire up a games console. So it was always a big part of my life, like my pastimes during the week at least. And the weekend it would be we get some pocket money and we could go out and do whatever. So seems like a good balance.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. I've still got all my old consoles. I'm just waiting to either get a man cave or actually have a room to myself, and they all
The
sit
dream.
all together next to each other. Because well, I've always been a PlayStation person. Well, Sega, and I had a SNES. But then since
Hmm.
PS1, it's always been PlayStation, and I could never get into Xbox. Even though they played the same games, it was more the controller. But anyway, uh,
I was the exact same dude.
so the idea is PS1, PS2, PS3, 4, 5, all in a nice row. The generation of family. That's the plan. Whether somebody sat in the other room will let me do that, I don't know. So obviously you've obviously answered the games consoles, but what's your all-time favorite game you've ever played?
I mean, out with Destiny,
Out of Destiny. So for me,
out,
mine's the Mass Effect trilogy.
Mass Effect games. Good choice, man. Um, it's a toss up, man. I was talking about Final Fantasy earlier. I've always been captivated by them. So I'll go with a safe bet and say Final Fantasy 8 because it was kind of pivotal for my experience of like story driven games and understand, like, when I got that game, I started to understand the dialogue and stuff. It wasn't just watching someone play a game. I was getting really involved in the story,
Yeah,
and I've replayed it so many times now. Like, I actually replay it once a year. I've got a copy of it on my PS2, and I just replay it every year. So I think that was kind of pivotal as far as like RPGs, story-driven games, and my sort of emotional investment in it. Like,
yeah,
the fact that I've played through the story like 10, 12 times now. Or I might be exaggerating, but so many times, and I can still keep going back to it. I think that just sticks out for me.
Yeah.
Close
Well,
second would have been. I'm trying to think. Nah, I can't toss it up, man. I was thinking of saying Call of Duty, but that's not really an amazing game. It's just a dead good game, if you
yeah,
know what I mean.
yeah. Well, no, I understand what you're saying with Final Fantasy. It's like BioWare bringing out the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the
Yeah,
remastered uh,
nostalgia.
in May. I've already pre-ordered it, and
Yeah,
and
it's a no-brainer for you.
even though I've played through them all several
You're there for it.
times, I'll play through it again. And I know on this time, with all the different choices I can do, I can play it differently to the other 6 or 7 times. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Uh, so obviously you've mentioned RPGs, but what other types of game or genres of game do you enjoy playing? Are you a secret Just Dance person, or do you like Fall Guys, Party Battle Royale type games?
Mm, I tried the party games in that, man. They're fun, but I get bored really quickly.
Yeah,
Like everyone's obsessed with Among Us still, and I've been there, done that. It was fun. It's a great concept. It's a very tried and true concept. The whole who done it thing.
yeah,
For me, game wise, I think I played a lot of sort of hack and slash games, like sword action style. Devil May Cry comes to mind.
yeah.
I love any of the Soulsborne games that came out
Mm,
recently. I played Sekiro, start to finish, just phenomenal game. I will always pick up a From Software game because I love that punishing sort of game
yeah,
style with the learning curve. Um, Bloodborne comes to mind as well. I had Bloodborne on my PlayStation. I actually bought that at the same time I bought Destiny, but again, that story's coming. Um, what else have I played recently? Been playing a bit Apex recently, to be honest. So,
yeah. Oh
uh,
well, I have noticed a lot of tweets from yourself about
yeah,
Apex.
if I found I think part of that's been driven by the people that I play it with, but that's my offline game. As soon as I'm off stream, I'll be playing Apex. I'll be looking to play Apex. Um, I'll be kind of exceptional circumstances. I'll be playing Destiny off stream. Um, but yeah, Apex has been a big filler recently. Really, I'd say a really well put together game. If you
Yeah,
haven't played it already, it's got you can feel how it runs quite smoothly and everything's kind of balanced in a sense, or close to. Can't say it's perfectly balanced, but
yeah,
there's a couple to name a few. I host party games as well with my community. So marbles, great fun, hilarious game. You can get
yeah,
people involved in. Flipping the Jackbox games, hosting party games. They've always got a place with me as well as far as games go.
yeah. Well, the last two you mentioned, marbles, I enjoy when I've been into some other channels and they play marbles. And you're right, it's just good fun watching, and then watching as you get poof, and you get boofed
Yeah,
off, and that's it, gone.
pretty sure there's people
Or
in chat that's been yeeted off a map plenty of
uh,
times.
or the Jackbox games, and seeing some people's dark thoughts with some answers.
Oh
Just
yeah, I'm just reading chat. The Metroidvania games as well. They're a big must for me.
yeah,
So Hollow Knight was mentioned. Hollow Knight's one. Super Metroid way back in the day was kind of pivotal for me as well. Yeah, good shout.
yeah. I was just reading that. Yeah. Uh, so let's get to the game that you are mainly known for, which is a small title by Bungie called Destiny.
Small one.
Small. So first off, and not an unusual question, but what got you interested in Destiny?
I'm like sitting here ready to do this. He's ready.
Right, hang on. Let me just get comfortable.
It's right. I always say that, right? I always say this. It's been such a sugar coated story, right? Because I understand when people pick up a new game that they could pick it up for face value, play the excuse me, play the 40-hour campaign. Excuse me a sec. Wow, my throat just went really dry there. It's always really sugar coated for people. Sorry, it can be the 40-hour campaign for someone, and then that's it. They'll never play it again,
Yeah,
or they can find elements of a game that will keep them coming back. And well, Destiny for me was that game that I kept coming back, or I'd been looking for it. So as I'd mentioned, I'd always been a PlayStation player. Never owned Xboxes in my time. Well, eventually owned a 360 right in the end of its life cycle, and always got to play Halo at my friends' places because they owned Xboxes. I was like, I loved it. It was something different, and because it was only on Xbox, I only ever got to play it at friends' houses.
yeah,
So the novelty was always there for me, and I was like, I wonder if there's that alien shooter game on PlayStation that's like Halo. There wasn't for a while. I picked up a game called Resistance. It was
Resistance, Fallen Man.
Resistance 3. It was I picked up.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
that came highly recommended, and it's a phenomenal game, by the way. Some of the
it is.
best.
It's
Uh,
brilliant. I've got it
it's
sat behind that telly at the moment.
really
Yeah,
dude,
I've got the
amazing.
series.
One of the reasons I bought that game was it had telescopic 3D, and I had a 3D TV which had the wee glasses for.
Yeah,
So I bought that for that reason, but also turns out it was an alien shooter. Um, excuse me, man, my throat's actually going for some reason.
no, don't apologise.
um, give me one sec. Right, that should be me. So, by total chance, I went to Game, my local game, and I bought two games on pre-owned. There was a pre-owned deal, £15-20 for two games. One of them was Bloodborne. I'd been dying to play it. I was like, right, that looks cool. I've seen people play it. It's like a hack and slash. I didn't know about Dark Souls at the time, so I didn't know it was going to be so punishing. And I bought Destiny just by chance. Just picked it up, looked at it. Right, cool. Took them both back. I actually plugged in Destiny first, and there was a big, massive update, like an overnight downloading update.
Yeah,
So I was like, well, I can't play that just now. It was year 2, Destiny 1, that I later found out that this was where it was at. So I played Bloodborne that night and very quickly found out how punishing those games were. So I was like, I hated it. I was like, no, I can't. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get past the first area on Bloodborne. If anyone's played those games, by the way, stick at it. It's worth learning how to get through. So the next day came, and I think I was off. This had been a week off I'd booked or something. So I bought new games to play, and Destiny was ready to go. Update installed, and I loaded it up and played the intro mission. We've all played the intro mission. You wake
yep,
up, you're like, here I am, I'm a guardian. Picked my character. I actually picked Titan first. Picked Titan because it reminded me of being a soldier, just looking at it.
yeah,
And that related back to the Call of Duty side of things, which I'd been playing at that point in time. But up to this point, I almost knew nothing about Destiny. I'm pretty sure there was a guy at my old workplace, like 2 or 3 years before, or 2 years before, says, "Oh, you should check out this game." Blah blah blah. I didn't listen to him, and here I was. I recognised the cover, the games box. I was like, "Oh, that's that game that guy played." um, so walking through, playing the first mission, and you pick up your first gun, and the moment I literally kid you not, the moment I pulled the trigger on the gun, I was set. One of my favorite things about the Halo games was the vibrate function on the controllers. It felt very tactile. It just felt cool. It felt different from other games. That was the first thing that jumped out at me. I was like, wow, that feels like the way it does in Halo. And then I was shooting at a target, and then I see the numbers flying off the head, the damage numbers.
yeah,
And then the next thing that ticks in my head is RPG doing damage to a thing the way you would in the Final Fantasy games beforehand, and that was it. I was instantly hooked. I was like, wow, this is amazing, and started shooting, and it was so satisfying. It blew me away. At the time, I played through the vanilla campaign, and I had a few in real life friends who had me added on PSN at the time. By the way, I didn't have a PS Plus subscription at the time. I ended up got to the second mission. You had to buy you had to buy a service for it,
Yeah.
a subscription. So I straight away, no brainer. I'm pretty sure it was skin at the time. I was like, no, I'm buying this because you needed that to load into a strike. Loaded into the strike and off I went. And it was just honestly, uh, played the campaign. And then, like I was saying there, sorry, I had a few friends who had been playing it since launch. And they're like, oh, you're playing Destiny now, Pidge? And I was like, aye. And then they joined me. One of them joined me on the last mission of the vanilla campaign, the Black Garden mission. And I was like,
Oh
I hadn't teamed up with
yeah.
anybody I knew at this point in time. And here I was in a party chat, playing this mission, cooperating together.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. I'd only ever played like a multiplayer Call of Duty, story driven, whereas in Destiny it just felt like a completely different ball game, like being co-op like that. So played it more and more, and eventually got my first raid group set up to do Vault of Glass. I tried doing Vault of Glass solo. I had no idea how the raid worked, and I tried to open the Vault of Glass on my own. I was standing on a plate of my own for like half an hour, and then someone messaged me saying, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing this raid," and they're like, "You need 6 people." I was like, "Huh?" So it was like a weekend, and I set up through Facebook and Messenger and whatnot. I was like, "We're doing this raid," and Saturday night started Vault of Glass late at night, and we didn't finish it till like the next morning. But
Yeah.
it was the most exhilarating experience of my life, dude. And that I think that then sealed the deal completely. Doing a raid, learning mechanics in my own reality, I realised I was very cause and effect with how raids work and stuff in the game.
Yeah.
And honestly, the rest was history. I just got my head involved in it as much as I could. Started to like live and breathe it, not stop thinking about it. Going to work, thinking I can't wait to go play Destiny when I get home. Got into my first clan. Again, this was people who had me on PSN that I knew in real life, and I had a regular team to play with. Same 2 or 3 people who would just beast through activities. They would teach me everything they knew, and yeah, played it all through. Obviously, not long after the Rise of Iron came out, and I was all in on it. By this time I'd bought the Taken King, so I played Destiny Vanilla organically. Didn't buy any
Yeah.
DLCs. Then when I found out there was the Taken King, I bought that, played that through, and then by Rise of Iron, I was fully fledged, like ready to go. I had a good understanding of the game. Destiny 2 came out, and I was buzzing because I was there from the start, but technically.
Yeah.
I was ready to play it from the start and put all my time into it because I'd only leveled a Titan in Destiny 1. I had about 300 hours in it by the end of year 3, as it was.
Yeah.
um, which pales in comparison to my Destiny time, to be Destiny 2 time, which is easy, like 800 hours a year or something like that, or more. I couldn't tell you what I've wasted on it now, or wasted, should I say.
Yeah.
Um, but because I was there from the start for Destiny 2, I was even more in on it, learned the game systems, discovered the sort of YouTubers and breakdown videos, and just again lived and breathed it. I took a week off work for it, something I'd never done before as well. Taking time off for
Yeah.
a
I've done
game
that.
launch, if you will. Hadn't done it until now. Now I end up taking bloody a month off if I could for a launch. So yeah, that brings me to the day, and then the kind of the streaming side of things. But I guess I can. That's a to be continued again.
Yes.
But it's been an amazing journey, and I'll let you say fill in and whatnot.
So obviously you've mentioned lots of what drew you in and where you got to the point where you're thinking about it all through the day and that type of thing. But what wow moment sticks in your mind from Destiny? So it could be the very first raid, it could be a cinematic that happened, and you just thought, wow. Like for me, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast. Uh, it's when you get to the end bit of King's Fall, and
Right.
the big oryx just comes up like that, and I'm just like, oh my god, wow,
Just wow.
yeah,
Such a cool raid boss. For me, similarly, it was when I got to the glass room in Vault of Glass. I forget what it's called, but the main room of Vault of Glass, when you get there, it opens up and all you see is this massive crystalline formation.
yeah,
And like even right now, when you see it, it looks amazing, I think. And I can't wait to see it in Destiny 2 for when it comes out. But the first time I set foot in there, and this is maybe 4 or 5 hours into our raid that night, and I've just learned how to play mechanics in a raid. Again, something I'd never experienced. And like I love cause and effect. I'm a very like cause and effect kind of person. I like seeing action and consequence with what you're doing, especially in a game or
yeah,
like for real sets. So up to that point, like I'd ran Relic on the Templar, if anyone ever done that before,
yep,
and people teaching me, going, right, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, right, okay, learning it, and just being pumped full of adrenaline from doing it, and jumping puzzles and all that good stuff. But once I got to the Vault of Glass room, and I'd never set foot in it before, it just felt so amazing to be like, I'm in this place with these people, and we only got here because we made it through the previous bits. That felt dead cool to me. I
yeah,
still love that sensation. I still get that sensation with raids today because there's a lot of people that don't do the raids often and they don't get to see this stuff, which kind of sucks. But there's a certain level of I made it here and I got to see it, so it feels kind of cool. But yeah, that moment of Vog, just nuts, man.
yeah. So, out of all the things that you've probably done in the Destiny series, either D1 or D2, what would you class as your best achievement that you've done in it? So it could be soloing in a summit or getting not forgotten at the end of Legends. What would you say? Or it could even be helping people, but what would you say your biggest or best achievement would be in the series?
That, do you know, those are all amazing like things, milestones. That for me were all goals at one point in time. So I really couldn't say there's been one defined moment. There's been several, but like my biggest moment to date, I think, would have been doing the Deepstone Crypt and getting a day one clear.
Yeah,
Because up to that point, I'd always threw together raid teams for day one raids back on my PS4. We never quite got through them all. I think the closest we did was we got to the final encounter on Crown when that came out. I had a great raid team for that. We got a raid team for what came after that? Would that have
Garden.
been Garden? We got a team for Garden, but we struggled. We really struggled. So when Deepstone Crypt came out, I'd finally moved to PC, something I've been wanting to do for a while, and got a team together, and we stuck out as much as we could. We got to the second encounter, which was a big sort of checkpoint for a lot of people. Unfortunately, that team never made it through. We tried as best we could, but I stayed on and powered through like a further 15 hours on top of that. That was about 8 hours we'd been at it and we were getting nowhere.
Yeah,
But I powered through till the next day, and I'll never forget it because I streamed the whole thing. So by the 23rd hour, we had another lineup swap. We'd been through several lineup swaps. It was a big long night of raiding. Just try to get the right combination of people, getting everything down. And then by like the 23rd hour, I actually remember specifically my viewer count had like it was sky high, and I knew everyone was just there to see if we got it or not. And
yeah,
I remember we got it on like the 23rd hour, and my chat going mental, and I was just sitting there and like normally I'd be freaking out when I see those chat numbers. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of people in chat, but I was there, I was in the zone, I was getting that raid done. So we got the day one clear For me, it was 23 hours. I mean, there's people I know that just sauntered in, got it done, 10 hours or so. They'd went to
Yeah.
their bed and that, and I'd stayed up the whole night. And I was like, I am not giving up on this. So that was testament to my determination, like,
Oh, definitely.
to get through. But up to
Uh,
that point, absolutely. My first ever flawless ticket, my first time getting not forgotten, getting unbroken for the first time. All that stuff's paved the way for other sides of the game. Um, Ironically, year one Destiny 2, I was terrible at PvP. I mean, people will still say I'm terrible at PvP. I'm not as bad as I used to be. But like by the end of year two, I'd went from like a 0.86 KD to a bang on 1.0, and I was
yeah.
buzzing about that as well. I was like, I finally broke even since all my time on Destiny 2. So that was kind of like a milestone as well. Um, Honestly, the list could go on, dude. It's amazing how like gaming achievements can make you feel, and they're all up there along the way
Yeah.
to give you that same feeling. I'm looking forward to like Vault of Glass coming out next season. I'll be all over that, try to get another day one clear. I say day one loosely.
So, well, yeah, because if I remember rightly, obviously they mentioned it a few weeks ago about the raid race for VOG, and have they said that there's going to be some extra things that teams have to do to be classed as world's first? Did I read that
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure what the format's going to be, man. I'm assuming like there'll be like a triumphs page that you have to complete X triumphs for day one, or they might even create a day one to do list on the
Yeah,
game. It's like you must complete these within the first 24 hours. It's going to be interesting. Um, a lot of good arguments I've seen for it was like people who did the original Vault of Glass on console, uh, having that kind of glory taken from them. I understand that. There's already been a first for it. I think someone said, I'm like, that's kind of true, but
mm,
they're still making it a friendly competition. Um, First D2 Vault of Glass, hard style, I don't know.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Because I
Yeah.
think contest mode will be on again, and I will enjoy World's First Day as I usually do, sat here in front of my computer watching on multi streams. I'm watching how everyone does.
That's what I used to do
Because
over the years, man.
don't get me wrong, I love raiding. I do love raiding, but I like raiding with friends where not that it's just completely chilled out, but I like to enjoy it as an experience and not feel
Yeah,
rushed and panicky, and where
to-
sometimes
totally
maybe
did.
opinions and tempers may flare slightly. I prefer to watch that. I prefer to watch you guys all do that.
100%. I used to do that. I remember I sat down and watched the Spire Stars from college at the time, I'm sure. To college. I studied at college for a bit before I got into my degree. And I was watching that all glad, the usual.
Yeah,
And that kind of was me getting into Twitch culture as well at the time. So following that, like raid day, it feels like Christmas to me. There's nothing more exciting than a blind raid and experiencing that without any with as minimal spoilers.
yeah,
And there's no guides. There's no real guides out. Obviously people solve each encounter. Raid secrets fills up with how to do's.
yeah,
But up to that point, you're all there experiencing it. And that's how I felt on raid night. It was great. Like the atmosphere in my stream at that time was people were coming in saying, "Oh, you're here," or "How are you getting on? Do you need a help?" or whatever, and that just repeated throughout the whole night. And lots of "You can do this" posts. Thanks to people who came in and did that, by the way.
yeah,
Um, but it's an event. It's a whole event. So when Vault of Glass comes out, like if I'm still stuck at my parents, I'll be paying them to go a hotel somewhere for the weekend. I'm like, don't worry, all expenses paid. Go enjoy the hotel. I'll see you when you get back.
yeah.
I'm not even kidding, by the way. That's the level of planning I'm having to do right now to
But
make
no,
sure I can pull an all-nighter if I have to.
you're completely right about the raid race. Though it's not just those taking part; it's those watching from the. It's a whole community event. So even like myself watching, like you said, all the people take it. It's as one, all part of it in one way or another, and it's
Yeah.
great how Destiny has done that and built this thing that everyone loves.
Hmm.
And I, I know the community do voice their opinions in certain things, but a lot of it comes from a lot of people's hearts. Stasis is one. I won't go on to my thoughts of Stasis because I've whinged on my streams before about PvE. It's fine, PvP maybe not, but it's all for the same goal. So everybody wants the sort of all head in the right direction, and it just shows what the pull the game has developed
Yeah.
over the years with people. Um,
The Twitch directory alone blows my mind. Like Destiny's like beats Fortnite air quotes, for its viewership on those days because it's such a big coveted day and
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. I think for Deep Stone, I think Glad had like 101,000 people watching him at one
Yeah.
point. It's just like,
Like concurrent viewers just go topside. It's
wow.
mental. Yeah. It's like that's just the summation of the entire like Destiny community
Yeah.
watching the channels, the main players. That's mad.
So, a, a random question. So, if you were invited to Bungie and they said, Pidge, here's a desk and a computer, obviously pretending you know how to do game design and stuff, and they said, we want you to design us a new seasonal activity or game mode, a bit like the Menagerie or something like that, and this was something that you could do. What would you like to, or what would you do?
Hmm. Do you know? I know exactly what we would do, right? This is for people that played their survival horrors in back in the day. There used to be a thing called Bloody Palace mode or Tower mode, like Tower Terror. And what it would be is it would just be floor by floor of waves of enemies to defeat. And I've always wanted just a hardcore to the bone, endless sort of bloody towers it's called, or Colosseum is another way you could put it. I don't know if people played the
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts series. You could play the Colosseum, it would have like 100 levels, and each level would just get incrementally harder, and you would have X amount of health, and you couldn't heal yourself directly. You would only get health from either beating around in a certain amount of time or picking up health orbs. So it'd be like that. It'd be like, say you start off with a dreg, just for
yeah,
giggles. And then the next wave's three dregs. And then the wave after that's three dregs and a vandal. And then it just systematically increases.
yeah,
And then by say that every 10 levels, you get fed a boss of sorts from the game. And then by the time you've got to like level 50, you've got a boss plus a wave of ads and then you've got multiples of bosses and stuff. And then it just keeps building that. That's what I would love to see in the game. Obviously, with relevant loot rewards
yes,
and incentive to actually play it, like cosmetics, all the good stuff behind it.
yeah,
So yeah, just that endless horde mode that you could go in and see how far you could go, and it just didn't end, or it just got so bloody hard that you'd never actually make it to the end. But then there would be an end eventually at a ridiculous level.
yeah. It sounds good. That'd be. No, actually, thinking about it, that'd be awesome. Just it's just you go in and you're just shooting, and
You're
just
just going and
and
shooting,
then it
mindlessly shooting.
progressively gets harder and harder. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so if there was one thing you could either add, change, or remove from the game, what would you think it'd be?
Hmm. Let me think for a sec. I like the way they've done stuff this season for sure. They've added in playlist loot, which has been pivotal for me for the past while on my channel and my main sort of grind.
Yeah,
Because like right now, I logged in today. I'm like, what am I even going to do? Well, I do PvP. That's a big filler in my time. But another thing is I'm thinking I'm like, oh, I'll do some grandmasters. So I would just say keep adding weapons to that loop so that people play whatever and they get rewarded with something or other. Albeit it's obviously I don't know if you've seen your timeline, but there's a lot of people going hashtag earned for RNG drops, and it's like god rolls, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I guess RNG protection then is what I'm getting at. uh, for all your drops, I had a big rant, the most obnoxious rant on Twitter about RNG. I was like, it was a Thursday night. I wanted to do Nightfalls, but I couldn't be bothered because I thought to myself, I'm not going to get the drop I want or the roll I want. And I ranted away. So then I logged in anyway, did the activity, and three runs later, I had two god rolls there in the end. And I was like, well, I have to eat my words now.
Yeah.
So that's what I would add in RNG protection so that people can like get the drops they want after like copious amounts of time. I mean, look at people that didn't get the Rise of Tomorrow. We were talking about Addy, never
Yes,
got
we
Rise of
were.
Tomorrow. I hope she's got hers after reset today, so help me. It becomes a meme, you know. I
Yes.
became a meme because I'm wondering about all this RNG stuff and then get laden with streamer loot. If I was to change something, I mean, a lot of stuff that already promised us. I played a lot of trials this weekend, um, and I was lucky enough to go flawless 3 times, which is something I would barely ever do. Now, don't get me wrong, at least 2 of those cards were with proper, like, sweaty gamers. One of them was a couple of friends invited me for their warm up cards before they did their raffles and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the other one was just total by chance, but ended up, I was with some crack gamers. The last card I did that today, and I did it with, well, equally crack gamers, but they weren't people that do trials recovs or anything or mad like that. And we managed to go flawless. And I thought this is because everything's healthy in trials. The playlist this weekend, hand can at 3 wins. People were kind of chasing after the loot, and we had a really good card. So I would change things to be always like that because a gamer like myself can go flawless or has a chance of going flawless with the right mindset and the right team.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an ultra sweaty 100+ flawless weekend gamers, you know?
Yeah. It's populated the playlist with
Yeah.
the obviously everyone was going for the hand cannon,
Yeah. There was a
and
lot of jumpers, as they say.
if I remember rightly, I think Trials report on Sunday afternoon. They posted the figures for trials,
Mhm.
and up to Sunday, so it'd only been out half the weekend up to then. It was only 20,000 shy of the top two highest figures for the
Yeah.
whole weekend. So it
They
shows.
they tweeted that today as well. It was like 400k people played trials and X amount went flawless. But the fact there was that many in the playlist, it was noticeable because there was games we were just I felt myself getting kind of overconfident. To be honest, just hobbling in and just playing. I'm like, this doesn't feel like a sweat fest anymore.
Mm,
There were some games that were just like, no matter how hard we tried, we lost, which was fine. It's like I always I always fail to put the time in for trials because I get discouraged. So I'll go in on Friday, I'll go an hour or two, and then I realise that if I'm going to go flawless, it's going to have to be a good graft, a good 2 to 4 hours.
yeah,
But this weekend, I think I played, right, well, we played a couple of warm up cards, say 2 or 3 that just got burned straight away. But in essence, I think I only played like 4 or 5 solid cards, and 3 of them was the flawless ones. The rest was all just your instant loss, just
yeah,
reset. So that would be my big change because I really do love the feeling of going flawless, and like it never wears off for me because I'm not as cracked as some of the gamers or players. But I've always got a chance when it's like that. Specifically, I don't know what would work as long as it gets the players in. If the population's healthy, there's always that chance.
Yeah.
bonus points for changing how matchmaking works and all the other stuff like player ratings and all that. If I was to take something out the game, it's a toughie as well. I mean, we lost a lot of stuff with Beyond Light.
Yes.
Um, so in that sense, if they're going to bring stuff back, then I think it'd just be a case of always taking stuff out that's there to refresh it and replenish it. I mean, that's the way it is. They've got all these assets. That's the locations and patrol zones and stuff. Um, that just needs a lot, like needs some love, and they can reintroduce it. They can go, hey, well, last time you hear this happened, but now there's a thing going on. There's a new event going on, and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fresh. It's new. Um, Honestly, I couldn't say take something out specifically. Without memeing that is like, oh, take out stasis. Oh, it's awful. I'm totally on the fence with stasis. Like, I get how frustrating it can be, but it's not something I'm going to take out the game lightly.
No, 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 definitely not. Right, so that is that topic done. So before we go to the quickfire round, just let's say Pikachu, thank you very much for the raid, my friend. Very appreciated and welcoming those that came with him. Viable, thank you for the follow. And Reaper of Darkness, thank you for the raid. Very appreciated. And good evening, Grandad. Nice to see you. How are you
Hey,
doing?
Dad.
So, we move on to the quickfire round. So it's either or. Uh, so, for example, the first one is Crucible or Gambit.
Crucible,
Raids or Dungeons.
raids.
Hunters, Warlocks or Titans.
I'm enjoying my hunter right now, so I'll say my hunter. But I logged into my warlock tonight.
The Traveller or the Darkness.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with traveler.
Watching Netflix or watching Twitch.
Twitch,
Action films or horror films.
action films,
Mouse and keyboard or controller.
mouse and keyboard.
And last but not least, burger and chips or pizza.
That's a toughie. I had a burger first as a snack earlier, so I'm just gonna say pizza because I could go a pizza now.
Right, so moving on to the last topic, streaming content creating. Now, obviously, this is what you do day in day out. So, how did you get into streaming?
So streaming at the time, one of the guys that I knew from playing Destiny, the guy on PlayStation, he streamed regularly. So I watched his streams, got a Twitch account and that. And I was that fired up about Destiny that I decided to start streaming myself. I went and bought a PS4 camera. And my main thing was I just wanted to show everybody how much I freaking love Destiny. I was like, you need to see how good this game is. That was my mentality.
Yeah,
I just wanted to show everyone that I loved it the most. But like not too like maliciously, but I was like, I love this game. So I picked up a PS4 camera at the time, and luckily enough, I had a laptop for college. So the PlayStation functionality is literally the game and your camera, and that's it. You don't see chat. You'll see alerts and stuff.
yeah,
So I had my laptop open at the side, and that's how I started streaming it. I just got the people that I played with to come watch me. Uh, Put a post on Facebook. Pretty much fell on deaf ears though. No one in my Facebook in real life really cared for Twitch as far as like content consuming went.
yeah,
Um, But I had a wee following, had a few wee folk watches. Mostly the people I played with though. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm streaming just now. Can you come watch the stream?" And that was the main vibe for a little while. Um, I streamed some of the other games at the same time. I played Sekiro. I had mentioned that earlier. I played Sekiro on stream. Had a great time with it. Um, it was 2019. It would have been 2019, and I literally says I'm going to get serious about streaming. Um, so that would have been late 2018, going into 2019. 2019, it says right, I'm going to start streaming frequently, and I think I streamed 5 days a week at that point in time in 2019.
Yeah.
But I had to move in the middle of July. It was a shared flat. This has kind of been my saga, but it was a shared flat, and we had to downsize. So I got another roommate and stuff, and we moved into a smaller place. Now I moved to the smaller place. This was about July 2019. So I'd been streaming from January, February, March, about 7 months, give or
Yeah.
take, and like I said, I had a general sort of following the people that I played with. There was no real major groundbreaking stuff happening. I was still on PS4 as well. So I'd moved houses or moved flats at the time in Glasgow, and the new flat had terrible, terrible internet. It had copper wire internet, which is to you and me, it's 5 megabytes download and less than a megabyte upload.
Yeah.
So it's literally borderline modem speeds, like
Yeah. You,
old
you
school
could
modem
send a
speeds.
carrier pigeon quicker with a letter than
Faster.
sending some.
Aye,
Yeah.
no good pun, man. So at this point in time, I literally had to pack my bags on the streaming thing. I could still just barely play Destiny, but it was laggy and I was getting error coded constantly. So streams were cancelled. I was kind of devastated. There was a bit of in real life stuff going on at the time as well. So I just stopped. I couldn't stream anymore. And I could barely play Destiny. It was laughable trying to play because my pals were like, "You're literally like blinking all over the
Yeah.
place." But I had a short term solution. My phone at the time had unlimited data, and I managed to get a 4G signal into my room, and that signal was enough to play. I think it was like I got 20 meg download, but only about 2 or 3 uploads. But it was steady enough that I could play
Yeah.
Crucible and stuff. Because in actual fact, I ended up getting you need to fix your connection warning off of Bungie at the time. So that was like right before Shadowkeep came out. Like, damn it. So Shadowkeep came out, and oh man, that took like a week to download. I was I was praying for the preload at the time. Got the preload. That was that. I'm going fast forward. So that was how things went. I could only play on PlayStation, nothing else. I had to use my phone. My phone was sitting on the windowsill to get the best signal. That was my gaming. That was how I could game for a bit. But that day that I found out about my internet, I used Twitter a lot. Twitter was my thing. I'm always been blabbing away. I never enjoyed Facebook because Facebook just became like a reblogging site to me. People were just resharing content and getting clicks for it. I was like, I don't like that. Now, don't get me wrong, that's exactly what Twitter is. But when on Twitter, what appealed to me was that if I reblogged something, I retweeted, the traffic would still go to the original post rather than it being, oh, Pijinn's pure hilarious. He posted this amazing meme. I didn't come up with that meme. Anyway, I'm ranting about Facebook. On Twitter, I just somehow already followed a couple of Destiny community members. Can't remember who exactly. But I then went on a spree. I just opened up, just started follow, 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 follow. Who's that? Follow. Destiny 2 profile pic, streams on Twitch, you name it. I just went on a mission. Something just clicked in me. I was like, I'm going to just go on Twitter and I'm going to meet as many like-minded people for Destiny as I can. And I ended up, one day, there was a few guys followed me back who had quite a sizable following at the time. And they're like, "Who's this Pigeonn guy?" And I was like, "Hi." I'm like, "Oh, he seems all right." And then they started tagging other people, and then we had this. I remember having this wee funny exchange about like just Twitter in general and Destiny, and somehow the algorithm started adapting for me to then
Yeah.
keep on following more people. And there was most of the time there was a very mutual exchange of I followed someone, they followed me back, and then I just started tweeting content about Destiny. I started talking about the game, started sharing screenshots from my PS4. I started playing with these people who were on PS4 that I'd met on Twitter. Up to this point, my entire friends list was LFGs, good old school LFG group people
Yeah.
that had mutually added at the end of a raid, never to play again. And ended up, it just steamrolled. I'd managed to fill my timeline with all this Destiny related content, and I was living for it. So, with that going on in the background, I also started watching way more Twitch streams, something I'd never really done when I was streaming. And I ended up met a few streamers as well. One of the original ones was like Obi Katie Cat, Robotic
Yeah.
Caddy. I'm pretty sure you've had them on the show.
I
They
have.
were some of
Yes.
the first people that I'd kind of gelled with, watching their streams and stuff. And I would just be in chat for a bit, watching all the people, all their chats go by, and I was like, this is amazing. This is what I want for my channel. Because up to this point, I was like averaging a couple of viewers here and there, maybe a couple of good hosts. I had a good few friends at the time that hosted the channel. They'd built their platforms up nicely. But I always felt I couldn't deliver because I was on my PS4. Although I always say to people who try to get into it, don't let your hardware limit you. Like, use your phone, read your chat from phone. All you've got is a console. Like, just take all the right steps and be yourself. Like, if you can get your personality across, you've won half the battle. Um, Go fast forward now. So that went on for ages. That went on from July right through to January, February. In January, February, it was really getting on at me. I was like, there must be a way I could get better internet. I'd tried phoning BT Open Zone and stuff to get the line engineers out, but that whole process takes years apparently. So there was no hope for that happening while I was there. Then someone said, "Oh, you can get a Wi-Fi box." I was like, "What's that?" Like, "Oh, it's your phone signal, but it's in a Wi-Fi box." I was like, "Oh, really?" And so I went looking and I found one through EE, also not affiliated by the way, no promo here. Um, but I found a package that was no sweat, like 2 weeks trial if you didn't like it. And it was a 4G box for, well, it was like 50 quid a month, man. It was 500 gigabytes data, but it gave you guaranteed speeds of 30 megs download and like quite high upload.
Yeah.
So it got delivered like the next day after I'd ordered the package. So there I was, set up in my room, blah da da, got my phone out, did a speed test, and then I was just sitting there shaking. I was literally 35, right, well, compared to current speeds, but for me, it was 35 megabytes download and I was getting 15 megs upload. And I was just sitting there, I was like, I wonder if I could stream with that. It was the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
So got my PS4 set up with the new Wi-Fi, speed tested it. Lo and behold, even faster speeds. It was coming in even clearer, and I was like, right, cool, let's test it. And this was like a random middle of the week night, and I tweeted out. I was like, I'm going live. I'm testing out this box. I might actually be able to stream. So there I was in my flat, about 8 months downtime, and I'd pushed live again on Twitch, and I tweeted it out, and see all the people up to this point who I'd been sharing lots of experiences with, tweets, conversations, even gaming with, they all came into my chat. And it wasn't just like, for me at the time before it streamed, I had a couple of viewers. I had like the highest viewer count I'd ever had at that point in time.
Yeah.
I'd like quadrupled my viewer count. Something that I tell people not to look at, by the way. But for me at the time, it was like my adrenaline was pumping. And I couldn't believe it. I was back. I was like, well, this is my format. I had my laptop sitting out and I just streamed. I played some Crucible and then I came offline after. I was like, I think that's it. We're back. We're just going to hit the ground running with it.
Yeah.
Made a few graphics in that and off I went. I'd already been affiliated on Twitch, so that was all like achieved. And then that's it. I just started streaming on the daily throughout February. That was February 2020. And well, a month and a half later, where are we? By the way, I hope this is not too long-winded for you. Like this is kind of my story for
No, no.
what got me to where I'm at. The lockdown happened. That's it. Like
Yeah.
lockdown's happening, and I worked part time for a pizza place. I was studying at college still, which was great. But I can see Grandad in chat there. Cheers, Grandad. The everything went into lockdown, and at that point in time, well, it was actually December. My late grand passed away, but she left an inheritance to which my parents approached me with come February, March, and they said, "When we think you should get a new car." This was February, March, and I said, "I think I should get a PC." And they just kind of went, "Right, we'll talk about it then." Like they're like, "What's the benefits of that?" And I says, "I could do the streaming thing, and I could do my uni stuff," which I was doing on a laptop, but I'd been applying for uni at the time to get into uni. I needed to get certain grades at college, and they came back a week later and says, "Okay, we'll give you your funding for the PC." So I was like, "This could be it."
Yeah.
And I got a friend to spec. Now I had a lot of friends who were in IT. They built PCs on the reg. I had an old roommate as well. This was the guy that built my PC. So he spec'd up my PC and he built it for me as well, all at once during the lockdown. And I was able to finally go pick up. It took so long for the parts to come in. It took so long to get a window where I could visit to get it. But I finally got hold of the PC and I took it home someday right in the middle of March or late March and set it up in my kitchen because I didn't have a desk in my room at the time. So I set it up in my kitchen table right in the middle of lockdown, got it all set up to stream, got OBS and that, got all my scenes. I downloaded like a scene pack on Stream Elements. It's really good packs on there, by the way, for free for people looking to get into it. Downloaded all of them, got it all set up, learned how to do widgets, set up my chatbots and all that. And then the next day, I went live on PC for the first time. And by that point in time, already still had the same people tuning into the streams and more by the day, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I was going live. So I'd already built up like a strong community out with even being live in the first place. I actually remember there was a channel called Square Go Gamers, really good friends of mine. They said, "You've done something a lot of people haven't done, and that's you built a community without even being live on Twitch." And I always kind of rung with me because I feel like it's kind of true. I was able to put my personality out there enough that people came to the streams to check them out and see what I was about on the streams, and they got what they came for, which is I guess me and my love for Destiny. Eventually, throughout the entire lockdown, that was a game changer again. I got furloughed on work, so it just became me, like many, were able to do full-time streaming. So it just became 12-hour streams every day that I could. Monday to Sunday, 12 hours a day, streaming, meeting loads of people. And then that's when I really started to understand what I was about, what the channel was about, what Twitch is about to an extent. It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not like a talent presenting player, so I can't just go on and flip and nuke people in Trials of Osiris or whatever. But I can go on and make it entertaining, I think, is the play. So over those months of lockdown and the rest of 2020, I found out what my content was about. I found out what my community was meant to be about. I know the word community gets thrown about a lot, but I finally understood what that even meant. And like before I knew it, I had a Discord full of people who I was gaming with regularly. They were always coming to the streams. And again, that was all just pivotal throughout the entire summer. Like I actually think back to the summer last year, sitting in a sweltering room, shorts and t-shirt, just streaming Destiny every day. It was just mental compared to the way it is now. It's a bit more tame now in a sense. I've got my schedule and that works great for me. but that was just hardcore, as if I was living in a streamer house. It was mental. And then since then, it's just been different checkpoints. We had massive hosts. We got added to stream teams. I appeared on a bunch of podcasts, like the F1 Gatecrashers podcast. I can't think. There's just been so many different moments. But that's kind of my whole journey, I guess, up to this point. Right now, we're now pushing for partner on Twitch. Something that was unfathomable when I started out in Twitch. Like, I remember sitting when I started on Twitch, and I looked at all the metrics, like, all right, so we'll work our way up to partner, no problem. It seemed like I know frills kind of thing. But that stuff becomes very apparent how hard it is to actually pull off.
Yeah.
But I had a record-breaking year back in Twitch. I actually celebrated it last year, a few weeks ago. Like, I don't look at my original date from on Twitch. I look at that date when I got back online because of the 4G box, which, by the way, I still use to this day, sitting on that windowsill, putting all this together. It was a game changer.
Yeah.
So I think I've covered most of it. I've told that story a few times now, but that's the bare bones of everything. That's me stripped down, man. That's literally everything I've went through. There's been a lot of highs and lows. It's punishing sometimes, especially pandemic. But getting the PC was a big turning point. Like, bless my grand, by the way. But even that in its own, I definitely made returns on the PC, which was also mind blowing.
Yeah.
Through subscriptions on Twitch and all that stuff. I was able to get upgrades like my audio, my camera, and all that stuff. And like that just came from that. I always remember looking back on those first streams. I was live on my PS4, and there was the same people in chat, and they're still here to this day watching the streams. And I'm just like, I can't believe that. Like, even stuff like getting sub badges made for year-long milestones, and people are starting to hit that now, like, because they found the channel this time last year. So, I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. I'm like, whew. Even like my dad's huge on it. He loves it. He thinks it's one of the best things because, like, he himself is learning how to launch an online business just now, and I think that definitely is where something clicked with me as well. Like, as soon as you start treating streaming as your own business, as your own livelihood, like, you really do, like, grind it out. You come out with ideas, you come out with the content. Like, my content is, and like, if I ever got a host, I never used to say it, but now I'll say I'm a Scottish Destiny streamer, and I'm here to entertain you and make friends. That's it. That's what I aim to do, and inspire you to play Destiny. Well, games in general, but like, I'll be playing Destiny more than likely. I'll be like, you want to play this game? And like, that's always been the thing. And I think finding what you're about's really big on Twitch. And that's what I was able to do in all that time. Thanks for listening. Play violence now.
So you mentioned community just a little bit back, and I've been in and watched your streams and seen your community in the chat, and they're a great set of people, and you can just tell by the. But how would you describe your community?
Very vibrant, very sarcastic, but always loving and always endearing, and like, they know how to exchange patter with me. They know I feel like I've got an inside joke with everybody. Like, I can see a few names in chat just now. I'm just like, you guys are awesome for even coming to, like, out of their nights to come hang out in the podcast. You know, like, asking them to come to my channel is one thing. Asking them to come to somewhere completely different. You know, that's testament. That's a huge for me. That makes me feel so proud. But that's it. At the end of the day, everyone just we can all, like, we've all got patter. We all slag out each other off, but we also hold each other up and whatnot through as much shit as we can. And we all just game together. Like, at that point in time, like, when I was on Destiny originally before the streams, it was always LFG. I'd have to sync it a LFG Discord or use the companion to find a team. Now it's literally I've got so many people around me that are always up for a game to play. They never tire out of Destiny. I mean, we've all been there, we've all burned out of Destiny at some point. Her burnout phase, unless you pace yourself nicely, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was always a big aspect for me. It was that time to play, people to play together. So we've all got a big mutual love for the game, the hobby, and then I think the people that I stream to every day, they get inspired to hop in and play the game, or um, they look forward to getting involved with what I'm doing in the game. If that makes sense, it's
Yeah.
kind of self glorifying. It's really self glorifying, but I do try to own it as best I can. I says, "Come play with me. Come get some games. I'll open up space in the fire team." And the same goes for like mutual content creators as well. My wider community and their communities. I love like Grandad, for example. Like he's got an amazing bunch, and we always slag each other off first, straight to the throat as soon as we're in each other's chats. But at the end of the day, we love hanging out with each other if we ever get a chance
Yeah.
and cross paths. Like we always bump each other in the tower and stuff like that in Destiny. It's like, oh, there he is again, goodness sake. But it's that sense of belonging.
Yeah.
That sense of belonging is what draws people into a community, and that's what I hope to nurture for, well, years to come. If I was being honest.
So, what are your plans for the future with your channel? Have you thought very far forward, or like to branch out into different things, content that you do, or is it you just want to carry on just doing Destiny, but maybe build on that in different ways? What do you think for the future?
So I have got a few ideas. I mean, I've got a
Ob-
few mods that don't even play
If
Destiny.
if the secret, you don't obviously don't have to disclose them.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, of course. Right now, I became notoriously. I'm becoming more like meticulous with getting clips and visuals, um, to generate more people at the stream. Now, it's something I used to be bad at. But like you can't just expect people to turn up to your stream unless they've seen something that happened on a previous stream
Yeah.
that was kind of, oh, that's what happens in Pijinnn streams. That's what gets people into your channel, by the way. Like putting stuff, putting like content out that people can go, oh, that's what his streams are like. So right now, I'm starting to build Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. God forbid. I'm just dumping clips on them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of half-assed about it, but I'm putting clips there. I'm doing a wee quick edits for them, and they're going up. And I'm happy with it. I'm going, that's out there now. It's there. People will see it, and then if I get one new follower from it, here, like hallelujah. Um, so sharing my contents definitely is up there.
Yeah.
Pushing just now for partnership is, as I said earlier, it's hard going. It's not easy because your numbers are going to dip. Like I had 2 strong weeks, but I had a few days that were outliers, and there's not a lot I can do to change that. That instantly, that is.
Mm.
All I can do is keep trying to shepherd people into the streams to the point that they understand what I'm about and they always want to come back. And to do that, it's creating all these moments that I'm sharing in the clips, but making sure that I focus my day around the potential for that to happen again and again, rather than
Yeah.
just being like run of the mill Crucible stream or this or that. I'll turn up and I'll say, like, here, we're doing all this stuff today, and you're going to get involved. And, like, that's kind of what I'm about. So, uh, I guess I'll summarize that. I'm going to try and become omnipresent. I'm putting all my clips out there on my YouTube, my Instagram, TikTok. My Discord. I want my Discord to thrive. I've got a great Discord community, but I'm always looking for ways to make it more interesting for people to get in and then stay in.
Yeah.
Through different incentives and whatnot, just different ideas, make it the place to be. And then obviously the partnership on Twitch, which we're pushing hard for just now. So far, so good. But it's going to take a bit more grinding, time wise and effort wise. Long term, I'm dead set on becoming a freelance sound designer. But if Twitch is there in the background as something that I can do as a hobby, but also as like a part-time job, if you will,
Yeah.
that's the end game for me. If I can go out in the morning, go do my freelance work, and then come home at night and go, we're going to stream some Destiny. I've got a community. I push it at literally at my fingertips. Push a button, and it's honestly sometimes like living a double life, but it's so satisfying, man. Like I'm going to be like when lockdown ends, I'll have my phone, I'll have a stand, I'll have a charger, portable thing, and I will in real life stream as well. Like I want to share all my moments and stuff with people.
Yeah.
That's how like personal and involved it is in my life. So yeah, there's the end game, man. I mean, full time streamer one day, who knows? That's a long stretch.
Well, and like you say, who knows what life may throw up, or you just don't know. Sometimes, if we all had a crystal ball and knew which way we were heading, I'd have won lottery 6 times by now.
Oh, there you go, then, man. The biggest thing is like, what if lockdown? I say if I hope lockdown ends. Lockdown ending could change the dynamic for streams for me as well, because like I might have to report for work more often.
Hmm.
But again, I think the foundation's there now that it'll work fine for me going forward. I'll have the people there to who I can't remember who it was it said. It says no matter what your schedule is going to be, we're always going to be there at some point. Like that's
Yeah,
the way life is. So I'm like, do you know what? That's it. I'll take that and I'll run with it.
yeah, that's great. And obviously, I wish you all the best with those future endeavours.
Thanks, dude.
And we've reached the end. I have no more questions.
Sorry if that went on for a bit. It's
Hey,
an epic saga.
don't worry about it. That's what these podcasts are about. They're here for people in chat, or well, people in chat watching, to learn more about my guests who do come on. So that's why you won't hear me interrupt very often, because it's good to hear what you
No,
guys
that's
have got
cool.
to say. But
When's the film coming out?
when's the film coming out? Dear me. So yeah, sorry, someone just caught my eye just then. Um, so Pigeon, I want to thank you very, very much for joining me this evening. Can we get some love in chat for Pigeon, please? It's been a brilliant guest and a pleasure to have on. Uh, as we always do, I will thank everyone that's come in with the follows, the raids, and everything else that's happened this evening. As we always do, we will go raid out another channel. I think that's Grandad there not being able to do his own emotes. So, what we always do at the end of one of my streams is I have a raid command that we copy and paste. So we copy it, and then wherever we go, we paste it into that other person's channel. Uh, and as normal, it is a difficult choice because there's so many good, talented, great streamers about, and I always get stuck when I get to this point, and then I feel really bad for who I don't go to. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever look at your list of when you're going to raid someone, you're just like, I
I
don't know
wish I
where to
could
go.
read post everybody at once, man.
You're not even online, Grandad. I'm looking at this now. You're not
He's
even there.
fishing. Best way to look at it, dude, is that there's always another day you'll get a chance to host your friends and whatnot,
Yeah.
and you just focus in on who you did host that night because
So,
you're trusting people with aim. So
I have found someone. It's another member of Team Sublime, a personal friend, and she's helped me with a lot of the design work, the little flyer postery things that come up for the podcast, the new podcast logo. She's a brilliant raid Sherpa. I think she's got 200 and something deep stone clears now, and however many of them is Sherpas. I think she must be three figures for taking people through the first time now. So we're going to go see
It's fine.
Empress Jadis. So let me just put that raid command in again. So if people want to copy and paste that, we'll go see Jadis. If you don't already follow her, click the purple art and give her a follow because she's a great streamer. Like I say, a friend of mine and another member of Team Sublime. But once again, Pijinnn, thank you very much for joining me this evening.
It's good to talk, man.
And let me do that and do that and do that. And we're nearly there. So, last thing from me before we go. So, I will be back Thursday evening with Crucible, probably comp. Save me now. But Thursday night's comp night. And then Friday night, I will be back with Trials Help. So, all more than welcome to come along, say hi, and see what we can do. But again, I thank you all for your time. Pijinnn, thank you. And
Thanks for having me, man.
let's go see Empress Jadis.
Like.